Welcome to the session, Build Cross-Company Engagement Through Interactive Dashboards. As you see, I need to look at the screen myself because the title is so long. So let me break it down, the title, a little bit by giving you a personal story or a personal background. So my intro to Tableau was not unlike many other. I worked for a company that had recurring reporting made in Excel. And I was part of a financial controlling department who actually did this reporting. Being part of this department, we were under constant pressure to deliver faster, but our reporting took weeks to generate. So we were looking for a solution to offload some of the burden of the work and automate our reporting. One day, the boss came into our office and said, I heard about this new tool, Tableau. It looks cool. Why don't you give it a try and migrate our reporting to Tableau? And we thought, great, this is it. That's what we want to do. We need something. We need a solution to make it more effective. We need something to automate everything. So we just jumped on it without thinking much, without outlining all the steps or thinking about what the change might bring. So imagine that before taking on such project, you could just fly overhead, study the route, anticipate any obstacles, and then map out clear path for your team and for your organization. I want this session to be exactly like this for you. So yeah, it's a story about migrating reporting from Excel to Tableau. I have been talking to some of you before the session, so I know that you do not only work with sales data, but also with some gamers data and marketing data. I hope that the tips that I'm going to provide to you today are universal enough that you're going to find some value in it. Looking backwards, I can say that we went through 3 stages during our journey. First, we focused on data and developing data models. Then we built our reporting, and at the very end, we were fine-tuning everything. So from all of those 3 stages, I want to provide you with 3 tips to improve engagement. Why engagement? Change can be difficult when driving a new product or a new solution in your organization. So you have to get lots of people on board. So these are 3 tips that will help you do it. And let's just jump straight into it. First, let's go back to the essence of reporting, the data. I'll show you how to assure you're providing correct data. Second, let's talk about how to provide your audience with more value that they already have, so they want to switch to the new tool themselves. And finally, I'll tell you just a little bit about the science for creating the best possible user experience. So let's start with tip 1, trust the data. Before running anything in Tableau or before rolling out Tableau to our company, we have identified our stakeholders. Basically, it was the entire company. Before Tableau, we had Excel reports, in pivot tables, distributed via mail or share files. So we didn't really know who was using it or what was the way they used it. That's why from each of the groups of our stakeholders, we chose champions of change. So they can actually help us with determining what is important and how the new solution should look like. I'm going to start with the data because it's crucial to provide people with truthful data, with the data that they can trust, and that they are not scared to perform their own analysis on it. So one day when we published our first reports to this small group of people, a senior employee came back to me and said, Anna, I haven't checked with my spreadsheet yet, but I feel it in my gut. I have a gut instinct that this data is wrong. I can tell it. I've been employee of this company for 25 years. Well, when somebody starts to question whether you provided the correct data, at that time when we had disparate data sources and were doing everything manually, you start to question yourself. Did I do everything right? What about all this copying and pasting? What about adding data with VLOOKUP functions? You know that those processes are very error-prone. So at that time I needed to go back and try to actually be a detective to track the error down, or maybe track the reason for discrepancy in the data. I wish I had a tool like Tableau Prep to do it. That's why I want to show you this tool today, so you can see how you can use Tableau Prep to assure that your data is correct. So let's just do a little demo. Imagine that you would be using, or you have some ERP system just like I had. Maybe you heard this phrase that SAP is actually one of the biggest Excel generators. So, do you know the process of pulling data into your Excels after the month is done? And you have to actually create several Excel files because you have too many rows for one file. Any of you have similar experience? Okay, great, yes. So, yeah. These are all the files. As you can see, we have quarters in tabs or quarters in different files. With Tableau Prep, all you need to do is choose only one file, which I already did. And then choose Wildcard Union to combine all of the files that are in this particular folder. So what are the steps to combine all of these files? All you need to do is find a matching pattern. Alright, let's just zoom it. Amazing. As you can see, the name of our files is sales, year, number of the year, and then the quarter. So everything that is not repeating, I will replace with stars or asterisks. Let me do this with 17 and quarter 1. Yeah. Now just apply, and you will see that all of the files that were in this folder are going to be pulled into Tableau Prep. So let's apply again. This is all you need to do to union all of the files. So no need to copy and paste. Just specify the pattern in file naming. That's all. It works same if you have your data in many tabs. Then, the other thing, or the other risky thing that we can do with our data is adding more data from another data source. Usually in Excel, I would be doing this with VLOOKUP functions. But with Tableau Prep, you can actually use database joins. So if I want to add more information to what I already have, and let's say I want to see some product details, Then let's just open it up and drag and drop to create a new join. Can you see? Yeah. So just drag and drop. What is great is that with this short visual summary, you know what is the key to join your files and whether you are excluding any rows from your data sets. So we know that in our original sales file, we had 13,000 rows of our sales data. We want to add more columns to our data set. So we do not want to have any more rows. So it's correct that our result is, again, 13,000 rows. There are 92 excluded rows. If you want to take a look at them, all you need to do is just click on it. It's fair that they are excluded. Probably these products were not sold. Another thing that you can do is specify the type of your join. So it can be a left join, which means that you are taking all the data from the original table and adding only what is matching from the second table, product details. You can see that what Tableau Prep did for us is it actually immediately chosen the key that we can connect on. All those things are helping you to to combine your data correctly. And it's in few clicks. Okay, there we go. One of the things that I like most about Tableau Prep is the middle pane. In the top pane you can see all the flow that you did. So the flow of transforming your data. In the middle pane you can see the data profiling. Each box represents one column in your data set. This is amazing because you can immediately see the distribution of each column, of the values within each column, and then directly edit each row. So if you don't want to see those nulls in this count, just right-click and exclude. All the changes that you're going to apply to your data set are going to be saved here in this little pane. Again, that's amazing. I didn't have these functionalities or a tool like Tableau Prep, but with this I could actually provide the users with something more than, with physical proof that the data is correct. Whoop. All right, there you go. But, nope. Let's go again. Great. So again, clean and trustworthy data equals better engagement. If you start to lose your users because they doubted their data correctness, it's very difficult to win them back. That's why we should assure the quality of our data in the first place. The cleaner the data is, the more correct insights your team can draw out of it. Let's go to tip 2. And remember the stakeholders? We had the executive board, managers, and sales representatives. Probably in many companies, the stakeholders are a little bit different, but those were the people that were receiving the reports and receiving the data. So you can think of your company and how this could translate to your company. Before rolling out Tableau, we found who the stakeholders were, because actually before that we didn't know how people used the data. As I told you, driving change is a process that takes time and involves winning people over by showing them what the value of new approach is for each of them personally. That's why we questioned all of our stakeholders, or the champions of change, to get to know what is the most important for them. Actually, this is the board. They said, we want to have a quick overview of our situation. Manager wanted to focus on having more analytical insights to drive their teams better. And sales representatives said that they need a solution to track their targets easy. How can you assure that you are actually combining all of those needs while building your reporting? Being a Tableau developer or creating reports is a very powerful function. So now, from the controlling perspective, there's a concept of span of accountability and span of attention. Each of us is an employee and we know what we are accountable for. As a Tableau developer, you can help people narrow their span of attention. So instead of providing all the data that is available, you can provide them with only what is important to them. Let's see how this can look like in Tableau Desktop. Very often, when you start with Tableau Desktop, and your boss said, just migrate the reporting, you're ending up with a result that looks like this. And very quickly, you're going to know that this is not a Tableau way. You can actually make it better. We should not just recreate the solution, but as we are learning, we can pass this knowledge to all of the audiences that we are working with. So let's take a look at this text table. Can you spot any trends? Do you see any patterns? Or just tell me which of the values are negative. This is a profit per month for each subcategory. It's very difficult to say anything, right? That's why we can start to teach our audiences what the value of visual analytics is. Just by adding this color coding to my table, we immediately can spot all the negative values. So all of the subcategories that any given month had negative profitability. This can be a starting point to the rest of the analysis, depending on what our goal is. Let's take a look at how you can actually use conditional formatting in Excel, in Tableau. Whoops. Alright, so let's just drag the profit to color, and then all you need to do is choose a square. There you go. It was so simple. You don't need to stick to the text table. Let's see what else we can do. Now in this view you can see all of the negative categories, but also all of those that any given month reached a goal of 5,000. How you can do this? It's a simple if calculation. If our profit is over 5,000, then the goal is met. If not, if it's negative, then negative profitability. If we drag and drop this calculation onto our color and change the mark type to square, all we need to do is change the size. And there you go. Free information in one text table. So I'm telling you about this because we needed to go through this process of teaching the value of visual analytics to our board members. Have you had this experience that you have some users that they really want the text table? Yes, great. And we went through the same thing. So this was the text table that they originally had. It looked a little bit different in Excel, but this is how it ended up with the power of Tableau. So actually, as you can see, they really wanted the text table. We placed it on the very middle, on the very bottom. What is the main point of focus in this visualization or in this dashboard is the evolution of our sales. Here we are comparing current month to previous month and this month previous year. You can see all of those on this one graph. Also, you know how many business days is left till the end of the month. So if any of you have the sales data and you need to provide any easy sales tracking example, maybe this is the way that you would like to go. Also, did I mention all of the workbooks, everything will be available to you. So if you feel like you would like to recreate the solution or maybe get inspired, then go on. You can also provide your users with more functionality by giving them the power of choosing what they want to see. So let's say that they don't want to track this year data or this year sales, but this month sales. So with a parameter, this is what you can do. You just choose a parameter and all the data changes. Now, let's jump to the next view. So a little bit more insights for managers. Not only they are able to see the quota attainment of their team and all the main KPIs at the very top, but they also can choose categories and customer segments that they want to see. So this is the first step for teaching users the concept of guided analytics. With guided analytics, you are showing your audiences the general information and then allowing them to drill down and find out more. So as they want to find out more about office supplies, everything else is filtered out. We want to see office supplies and consumer. There you go. Now, let's see how we can provide users with bar charts that act as filters. I think that's a really good view because it resembles a button in a way. So it's very intuitive to use. So let's see. I already have an object here that will hold all the visualizations that I'm going to put in here. And then I have all the buttons, both of the buttons ready. So let's just drag it in here. Let me see if I can find the next one. Yeah. The only thing that you need to do is to choose this funnel icon, which says Use as Filter. Let's do it with the first one and the second one. Now by clicking on any value or any button, any part of this visualization, I'm filtering out all of the other. Another thing that I wanted to tell you about in this view, let me just take the filters out, okay, is the very bottom. So here you can see that I have the latest data refresh information. Very often if you're using extracts, user can be or can have doubts. What is the date range of the data? When we're working with sales data, sometimes one day is making a difference. So if you want to provide this information, what you can do is actually just use a caption. The other way to include this information is by just clicking in the title and then inserting data update time. With this information, you make sure that your users know what is the range of the data that they're working with. Let's see what we have prepared for the sales representative, with that said that easy target tracking would be extremely beneficial for them. Again, we are starting with the same things. So KPIs and then sales versus quota. If we want to provide them with more information on their sales each quarter, then you can do it two ways. So remember that sales representatives might be users that are more casual users than heavy analytical users. That's why we want to introduce an element of fun to drive the engagement even more. Any interactivity that you place into this dashboard will help with that. So let's just take a look at sales in the first quarter. As you can see here, I placed Vision Tooltip. It's displaying the top 10 customers. I'm not sure if you use Vision Tooltip. Any of you have tried to use? Yes. Great. For the rest of you that are not sure how to use it, it's extremely simple and it adds this interactivity to your dashboard. So let's take a look at it. Here's our visualization. The only thing that we need to do is choose a tooltip, choose Insert. Oh, that's funny. Okay. Again, Sheets, and now I'm looking for the Vision Tooltip. Great. Let's go back. You can see here that you can adjust your width and height. Let's just try it without adjusting anything. I will just name it that this is top customers. Okay, let's see how it looks like. Great. Now the Vision Tooltip is done. So it really took less than a minute, but it adds this element of interactivity. The other way you can do it to provide more information but without wasting space on your dashboard is to use dashboard actions. Usually this is not the first thing that you are learning when you start using Tableau, but it's very simple and it immediately makes you look like a Tableau professional. So take a look at this. Anytime I want to see more information about customers in this particular quarter, I just need to click on a button or on this particular bar to display the information. Have you used it before? Yes. I see some Tableau pros here. Great. Okay, let's take a look how we can do this. So let's go to our dashboard. First thing that we need to make sure that is set up for us, we have to have an object. So I already dragged an object into our dashboard. Excuse me. Yes. Now, the only thing we need to do is adding another visualization next to it. As you can see, around the whole visualization, there's this blue box. We need to make sure that the other visualization will be placed in the blue box. Let's just hide the title and now go to Dashboard, Actions. Let me drag it here. Add action. Filtering. So we want to use the dashboard sales versus quota. And with action run on select, we want to see more information on the tooltip vis. When nothing is selected, so clearing the selection, will exclude all of the values. This is the combination of options that will allow you to create this experience of popping up and hiding visualization. Nope. Cool. Now let's try it. Yay, it works. So it was really simple, and it can make you look like a Tableau Pro. Let me jump back to my presentation. Great. So, to find greater value, involve your audiences in creation process. Just like we did, it's really helpful to have them engaged at the very beginning. If they are engaged in their creation process, then they will feel as a part of the entire change. Also, they will help you to build the information or the dashboards, the reports, the analysis that is important to them. As long as you can assure that you provide what they need and they can focus on the data that they need, then they're going to be engaged. Next, if you have users that really want to have that crossed-up, it's okay, that's great. You can root your solutions in the known, but make it a little bit better, make it Tableau way, and slowly teach them the meaning of visual analytics. Let's go to tip 3. So when you have developed all of the dashboards, the reports, everything that you need for your organization to run smoothly, and you assure that everything is automated, modernized, your users are already hooked. The only thing that you need to do right now is just keep it up. So how can you do this? We went through the 2 stages already, data and report building. The final one is making the best user experience possible. In my opinion, there are 2 components of that experience when it comes to Tableau: time perception or performance and aesthetics. Recent studies say that you can guarantee a continuous user experience whenever the interaction is happening within 2 to 5 seconds. And that the average wait time for the page to load is 3 seconds. So we're thinking in terms of seconds here. I wanted to mention that, the loading time, for example, because explorers and viewers are going to access your dashboards and your visualization through browser, which means they are going to expect a similar experience they get with most of the websites. Knowing that, you can make sure that they're having the smoothest experience possible. How to do that? First of all, you can use guided analytics. So anytime you assure that you provide a general information and then you drill down into your data, the performance should be fine. As of now, you should not be considered about Tableau performance. We have some sessions on that, and also we have some white papers written on that topic. But as long as you're using guided analytics, you should be fine. The other thing is just keep it simple. I just shown you 3 dashboards that are for totally different audiences, but they are reusing the concepts or the visualizations that we created. The second part is to improve aesthetics. You can use the concept of data to ink ratio to improve aesthetics of any of your visualization. So I think this tip should be considered for any visualization you create. What does it stand for? What does it mean? It is a concept introduced by Edward Tufte. I hope I'm pronouncing his name correctly. And he's a guru when it comes to data visualization. So this is what he says. He thinks that you should dedicate as much ink on the view to the data as possible. How can you do it? How do you know that you're doing the right thing? Any grid lines, anything else, any captions that do not add anything to improve the understanding of the graph, you can get rid of that. Let's take a look at a few of the examples that I created while doing those free dashboards that I just presented to you. Oh, there's one more thing. I'm going to compare Tableau defaults with what was formatted by me. So I think that you can be sure when you're using Tableau default, you're also fine. Really, so much thought came into even creating the color palette or choosing the right fonts, that Tableau defaults are your friend. But I know that many of you, as you get more comfortable with Tableau, you want to be a little bit more creative, or maybe you have a corporate standard that you need to conform to, right? So just keep in mind that data to ink ratio is your guidance. Here, remember the buttons that were provided to filter the view? They were using just simple formatting, Tableau color coding. Great. But actually, to make it a little bit more friendly, I changed the colors and get rid of all the grid lines. Also, the fonts are bigger, just for the purpose of making the graph more clear. Another example is our text table. All the data that are in the text table are also in this visualization. Actually, if you would just click and copy as cross-tab, this is the text table that you will achieve or you will get. But look how different it can look and how much more information you can get from it. Again, the colors were slightly changed and there were some additional information placed like monthly quota, so we can see whether we're on track to reach the monthly quota this month. The bar charts are showing you the sales each day, so you can see what went on, how was it, how did it look like the entire month. Next, again, a simple bar chart, and there are free information in this simple visualization. To make it clear, I not only changed the color coding, but also added a little legend just in the title. So if you don't want to cram your dashboards with all the legends, you can simply edit the title and use the color that you used for the visualization to just describe what is going on in your dashboard. Yeah, great. So these are the two concepts that you can use when you want to delight your audience. First is the time perception. Remember that people accessing your views will be mostly doing this through a browser. So they will expect a similar experience that they have when they just browse the internet. And then, data to ink ratio. You can use this concept to make your visualizations more aesthetically pleasing, or just to make it better, more clear for the user. And the better they can read the information, or the more insights they get immediately after seeing the visualization, the better and the more engagement. So let's recap. We went through modeling the data to building new solutions for your organization and then delighting your audience. I would like you to notice that during your Tableau journey, you're going to learn those 3 skills. You're not only going to be a dashboard developer, but also a data modeler and a user experience designer. I think this is great. I cannot imagine going back to the old ways of doing things. So yeah, I love Tableau so much that I started to work for the company. I think that speaks the loudest. So let me just stop here and please complete the survey when you're going to leave the session. And now is the time for Q&A. If you have any questions, then go on. Yay.
A question for Tableau Prep. Is it possible to use online data sources with which are published to the server, or is it now available only for Excel?
No. Our developers are constantly working on creating native connections to all the data sources that you can connect Tableau Desktop to. These are the data sources that you can connect to right now. You can also publish the output to your server. So yes, I think there is a possibility, depending on what the data source that you have.
Well, we have all our data sources are Tableau server.
Okay.
So if
Yeah.
they're already available today, can I just connect to my Tableau server and...
Yeah. So you can use a Tableau extract here, either TDE or Hyper. The automatic refreshing is coming up next.
So the refresh is not there yet?
Not there yet. Yes.
I'm working, first I want to thank you for the useful session.
Thank you.
I'm working at my company to implement Tableau with controllers.
Yeah.
And there are some controllers that look like married with their Excel sheets.
Yes.
And if you put data prep on top of it, maybe they never get rid of the Excel sheets. So I was thinking, are we able to connect data prep directly to the source, so you can ingest the data directly in Tableau?
So at any time that you're creating your data flow, you can simply right-click, oh okay, you can see everything, and then preview in Tableau Desktop. So going from one tool to the other is very easy here. They are really well, they are integrated really well. And I think that as soon as you see your data, it feels totally different. You get new insights into what was going on in the company. So I think the value of visual analytics is the way to go.
What was the hardest thing to change from Excel to Tableau?
Ah, sorry. Yeah, so the question was, what was the hardest thing with going from Excel to Tableau? Yeah. Well, so probably the expectations. Coming from an Excel background, you are used to doing things differently, and then you need to relearn. But actually, you should not stop midway. It's really worth it. So just look online. Look, if you don't know how to do something, just look it up online. We have a huge Tableau community, and the Tableau community was extremely helpful on my journey. So I was just Googling everything, and yeah, here I am. For us, the whole process of migrating reporting and spinning up the new solution took around 6 months, so I don't think that's a lot. And after a year, users were already hooked. So yeah, we had great results. And creating the reporting, the recurring reports that were already automated with Tableau freed up so much time that we created analyses regarding marketing, regarding our top customers, our profitability, the discounts that salespeople were making, and we managed to optimize not only one area of the company but several. We managed to save lots of cost and bring more value. Yay! Sorry guys, I'm constantly on this side and I haven't even been here yet. Do you have any questions? No? You're good. Hope you find this useful. Great. Hope it's going to help you to outline your journey a little bit more clearly right now. Great, thank you.